President Trump announced what is, at least to some people, some surprising news. His administration is looking at reclassifying marijuana. Now, you may recall that marijuana is currently classified as a Schedule I drug, but the latest efforts, which actually took place under the Biden administration, that would reclassify it to a Schedule III drug. So what does all that mean? And what are some of the potential pitfalls if indeed marijuana is reclassified into a Schedule III drug? Well, here now to answer our question is Dr. Kevin Sabet. He's the founder and CEO of Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Kevin, thank you for joining us today on Washington Watch.
Thank you, Congressman. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so for those of us who are not drug policy experts, explain to us the difference between a Schedule I and a Schedule III drug.
Sure. So these are classifications that Congress created in 1970 with the Controlled Substances Act. It's actually a reform of even more harsh laws that actually happened beforehand. And it was signed by President. And what it does is it classifies the drugs into 5 categories based on 2 criteria. One is accepted medical use, and the other one is potential for abuse. And so I think marijuana does not have accepted medical use because there's thousands of kinds of marijuana out there in various potencies. Of course, today's marijuana is much more harmful than we ever thought it could be. It's up to 99% potent. It's causing psychosis, schizophrenia, suicide, low IQ points, absenteeism. I mean, I could go on and on about what today's marijuana is doing. And so it has a very high potential for abuse, and itself does not have accepted medical use, although there are medical applications of the marijuana plant. Those are in different schedules. They're not in Schedule I. Those are already in Schedules 2, 3, and 4. So, the effort to reclassify marijuana from Schedule I doesn't really make a lot of sense when you look at the science. And unfortunately, there's a sort of small wing among some of the president's supporters that stand to make a lot of money, though, if it is rescheduled, because they'll be able to write off taxes, essentially, write off expenses as part of their business taxes if they're in the marijuana business.
Okay, so I'm assuming by what you're saying that Schedule III is a more dangerous drug than Schedule I.
No, so Schedule III means it has accepted medical use,
okay,
and it has less abuse than potential than a Schedule II or I drug. But what a lot of people don't quite get is they think that because marijuana is in the same Schedule I as, say, heroin or LSD or PCP, for that matter, that means the government thinks they're equally dangerous. And that's actually not true at all. The way I like to think about it or explain it to folks is, if you're at a gas station convenience store and you're going down the snack aisle and there's only a couple of aisles in the store and they have a snack aisle, you have different kinds of snacks. You have cookies, you have chips, but you also have, almonds and protein bars because they fall under the criteria of a snack and they're in that aisle. Same thing with marijuana. It falls under the same criteria as the other drugs. It doesn't mean the government thinks it's the same. It doesn't mean the government treats it the same. It doesn't mean that it has the same penalties or anything like that. But that's a lot of the misinformation by, frankly, both parties, I have to say, that are spreading misinformation about this.
Yeah, there is so much misinformation. I mean, there's actually strong coordinated campaigns, I think is the best way to describe it, trying to convince people that marijuana is not harmful. So you started off talking about some of the dangers of marijuana. Take us a little bit further into that. This is certainly not a harmless drug. What are some of the dangers?
Well, marijuana is a very complex plant. It has hundreds and hundreds of components, and we only know about a handful of them in terms of what science has revealed. And already what we know is very scary and very dangerous. So the active ingredient is THC. It binds to receptors in the brain and throughout the body to cause addiction, to cause really erratic behavior that can lead to psychosis, schizophrenia, cognition and learning. Memory is a big issue. Obviously, lungs is an issue if you smoke it, if you smoke anything for that matter, especially something with so many carcinogens as marijuana has, as well as on your heart. There was a recent study showing an increase in death rates, risk of death from a heart disease based on marijuana. And it's just people don't even think marijuana is harmful, let alone could kill you through a heart attack or through other heart issues. And so we've learned about a lot of this stuff and how harmful it can be. It's not the Woodstock weed, and legalization that some states have been doing has actually led to the creation of a lot of these new products. We never had 99% potent products before legalization. And so I really hope President Trump does the right thing. Reclassification would not legalize marijuana, let's be clear, but it would give further impression that marijuana is a harmless drug. It would give further impression, wrongly, that marijuana doesn't cause things like uncontrollable chronic vomiting, which it does. That's called cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, and a whole host of problems that today's marijuana is having. You know, marijuana is responsible for the majority of kids that are in treatment. I get calls daily from parents, usually mothers, who are extremely distraught over their teenagers being completely addicted to marijuana, totally derailing their life. So a lot of baby boomers don't understand that, because the marijuana they used was, frankly, a very different drug back then.
Yeah, and it's certainly a entry-level drug as well.
Yeah.
Are the products that are derived from marijuana just as dangerous as marijuana itself?
Oh, absolutely. They're more dangerous. I mean, the natural marijuana plant doesn't have so much THC in it, frankly. It has a lot of other components in it. And so what people have had to do is they've genetically bred today's marijuana. They've added all kinds of ingredients, metals, and there's bacteria and mold, of course, that are in it, pesticides, because marijuana is a very finicky plant in terms of when there's too much water and mold, et cetera. And so, even in legal states, the product that people are buying, you don't really know what you're getting. And it's usually, infested with some kind of mold, bacteria, heavy metals, et cetera. So it's much more harmful than, let's just say, the natural weed if you were to grow it in your backyard. But again, this effort to reclassify and legalize marijuana, it's a very concerted effort, as you said, by people who stand to make a ton of money from it. It's sort of like, frankly, big pharma with opioids, big tobacco with cigarettes. They've created so many products now, and it's causing a lot of problems, especially for our young people.
Thank you so much, Kevin Sabet, founder and CEO of Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Fantastic information. Thank you for joining us on Washington Watch.
Thanks for having me. And if anybody wants to read more, they can go to learnaboutsam.org, and they can reach out. I also wrote a book called Smokescreen. Thanks so much, Congressman. Appreciate it.